there is an art and craft to rearing pigs for profit. Whether it is breeding for piglets, retailing the sows and boars, slaughtering pigs or adding value to make sausages or bacon, the heart and soul of a pig farmer is always heavily invested. At times, the worst happens. Whether it is disease, lack of sustainable market, inability to break even and more, it ends up eating into the sweat and the tears of the pig farmer, forcing many to abandon the business. Some pig farmers still ride on though, with a vision of making the business work. In today's episode, we feature one such farmer based in Kajiado County. Kelvin Mwaka has the resemblance of a Nairobi businessman. His two-piece suit and ambience support the story, but this could not be further from the truth. Kelvin is a man whose heart is deeply entrenched in pig farming, and it is this that has kept him in the business for many years.
Mid-2014, that should be June, July, that's when officially Sahihi Farm was born. We started with 4 mothers and 1 bull. There are 3 things which inspire me to keep the pigs. First of all, the money is good. Secondly, when I'm under a lot of pressure, this is like a stress reliever. Where I supply, the clients who buy the pigs from me, those are the guys who keep me going.
Collaboration is like the sun and the soil. Both are equal partners to bring beautiful flowers on the earth. Without one or the other, none can thrive. It is on this premise that Kelvin and his close friend John founded Sahihi Pigs. The partnership was, however, short-lived.
He requested that he no longer becomes partner because he was very committed at DHL. So that's when now I managed to carry along by myself. But we are always in touch, and we are more or less like Pagu na Paguzi.
Transitioning from full-time employment to rearing pigs was a necessary change for Kelvin, which he welcomed wholeheartedly.
When I started the pigs, I was employed. However, I left active employment, came to concentrate on the pigs. But after a year or so, everything was running so fluently.
One of the key considerations Kelvin had when starting Sahihi Pigs was capital and the availability of in-depth research on pigs. These 2 tools, in addition to others, would help in the success of this venture. A few months into the business, he found out that one was more important than the other.
We were able to raise a capital of, I think was 380 or 420,000, just thereabout. And that was enough for us to buy the first herd. We did the shed, and then we were able to lease land. When we started on leased land. We stayed on that leased land until December 2017.
Selecting the right breed for a pig farmer is crucial when starting pig rearing. The breed quality that a farmer chooses will either positively or negatively impact the profits he or she receives. Kelvin has learned that breed selection is similar to garbage in, garbage out. Gold in, gold out.
The breeds which we bought at first, they were kienyeji inbred pigs. We stayed with those pigs and we realized we're heading the wrong direction. We got a fresh breed. I have large white, Landrace and Duroc. Duroc are not many, but large white and Landrace are the ones which are very common in this farm. The reason why I interbred the 2 is because large white are bigger in structure. However, Landrace, large white are taller and longer. Landrace are fatter. So you get the Landrace, if you interbreed the 2 of them, you get taller, longer and larger. So at the end of the day, you have more mass, more meat per size of the carcass.
Good housing management involves a number of things. Pigs need a dry bed, protection from extreme temperature and sunburn. The minimum requirements still apply for space, fresh air, and hygiene, as well as access to feed and water and accommodation.
We did a proper cubicle type pig structure, able to house up to 150 pigs.
There are various housing structures a pig farmer can use to make the pig pen. Kelvin began with a wooden structure before moving on to a more permanent structure.
Then I came to this structure. Now this, if you look at it keenly, you will see on the front side there's the eating trough, and then behind there's the watering trough. Now this is good, it's permanent, however, it wastes space and there's a lot of wastage in the water. Because the moment the pig eats, if it comes in the water, so it carries some feed and pours in the water. After a while, you have to remove that water.
When feeding pigs, it is important to consider the nutritional requirements, as there is no such thing as a standard diet. The nutritional requirements are often simplified and described as a requirement for energy and protein. More specifically, the protein requirement is described as lysine requirement. Lysine is an important amino acid that indicates the quality of protein in terms of the pig's needs. This is why Kelvin is very keen when it comes to feeding.
My year for feeds runs from August to August. I buy the maize and wheat or barley, whichever is available, from two of my friends who are large-scale wheat and maize farmers in Narok. And then this other 20% I'm able to get from the local market and the agrovets, and then the soya and the sunflower, I plant it in my farm in Kakamega.
Sahihi Pig Farm is segmented into different areas. Towards the pig pen, you will see the milling house. This is where Kelvin and his team mill all their stored feeds.
I want to maintain the same quality and the same ratio from August, when feed maize is in plenty, to June and July, when there's scarcity. Secondly, I would like my pigs to eat as much as they need. What we call in pig farming ad lib. Feeding ad lib is more expensive because it also has a little bit more waste. However, for me, I do that because I ensure that all the pigs, they eat enough. And in doing that, you will get always in the same age group, the weight discrepancy or weight disparity is not that much.
There are four main types of breeding systems when it comes to breeding pigs. They are pure breeding, inbreeding, outbreeding, and crossbreeding, as we covered in episode 3. Kevin utilizes the crossbreeding method for his pigs.
In a particular group, if we find that a particular piglet has superior qualities to the others and it's a female, also basing the fact that if the mother was much better mother than the others, then we select a few. However, we always make sure that when it comes to breeding, that particular piglet, when it matures to a sow, it will not be used with the same bow, because that way that will be in breeding.
Kelvin is a firm believer in letting nature take its course. This is why he opts for the natural breeding method compared to the artificial insemination route.
AI, it has a limit in hours. So if I am to do AI, by the fact that if the sperm leaves, let's say farmer's choice in the morning, by the time they get here, chances are it will be in the evening because of the traffic, and then when it's raining, the road network is a bit poor. So that is why I tried it, but I realized it is not in my favor. So that's why I stuck to the bow and sow method.
There are 3 stages of heat in any sow or gilt. They are broadly categorized as pre-estrus, estrus, and post-estrus. Each of these phases has its own signs of heat.
There are 2 things which show that sow needs a bow. One, the sow is a bit restless. You will see if it's not housed in the same house with the bow, you will see it's trying to raise its head over the head where the bow is. Secondly, the vulva kinds of enlarges and turns more pink than the normal cream pink. And then thirdly, if you touch that sore, especially on the back, even the most scared ones, or if it's on it, you touch the back, it will stay calm. It will not move. For as long as there's a sore on it in the entire pen, the bow will never be restful. You will always see the bow is trying to smell around, like he wants to get out of his house to go to the other cages. So that is usually one of the first signs before even the sore starts showing, because of the smell she emits.
After selecting the right boa and gilt or sow, it is now time to wait. The average gilt comes in heat between 8 and 10 months after birth. This is just the start of her puberty stage, where she attains sexual maturity. At this stage, she can be served when she reaches the second stage of heat.
The moment you've removed the piglets, you remove the sow from the piglets. The piglets are the ones who are supposed to stay in that house until they get used to the house by themselves, then they'll move to the weaner house. You remove the sow. When you remove the sow, you are supposed to dry it. By drying it means you give it only water, no hard feeds. That way it will concentrate more on itself and not comfortable and continue reducing milk. Secondly, in the house that it goes to, it should not have stress. For example, you don't remove it and take it to another house full of other sows, which they'll start fighting for dominance. That way, on the 4th and the 5th day, she will automatically be on it. The house where you take it to, it's always advisable in the next house, the bow should be there, whereby they're able to smell each other. If possible, they're able to touch each other, like touching their noses together, something like that. That also brings her on it very fast.